Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome back to the show. Guys Time. Zach Bryce here. I hope you guys enjoyed the weekend. We have to talk about these Detroit Tigers. We'll get to that in a couple seconds here. That's the first topic we're going to discuss. Then we got to talk about that crazy UFC 319 pay-per-view this past Saturday night. Khamzat Chimaev, the new UFC middleweight champion, a dominant performance. A lot of people say it was boring. The hardcore fans say, hey, if you don't like MMA, don't watch it. You know, a lot of mixed reactions to that. I will give my opinion of how I felt about the main event there. But regardless, a dominant performance by Khamzat Chimaev. And I told you guys that if he went for the takedown early, which only took 8 seconds, by the way, it took him 8 seconds to take down Dricus du Plessis, the former UFC middleweight champion, and he ragdolled him for 5 rounds. But I told you guys, if that was going to happen, he was going to win the fight. It happened. We got a new champion, so we'll dive deep, really deep into that one. So we got that going on. And then we got Sammy Marinelli making her second pro fight this Friday night at the Detroit Soundboard, at the Motor City Soundboard, at the Motor City Casino there in Detroit, Michigan, making her second fight in their pro boxing career. So that's going to be a good one. We'll dive deep into that a little bit. And then we got to end this episode today talking about college football. Guys, it's almost here. We actually have a game on this weekend between Iowa State and Kansas State. That's going to be a good one. But then obviously all the other games are going to happen next week. But then, you know, you got the NFL coming as well. So, yeah, football's here, guys. It's almost here. I am so excited. But now we got to talk about baseball real quick. We got to talk about these Detroit Tigers. Yesterday, against those Minnesota Twins, 4-game series, we took 3 out of 4. I'm not going to complain. That's pretty damn good, especially where we've been these past few weeks, past month or so. I will take that for the Detroit Tigers. They're 73-53. That's a great record. First place in AL Central. They got an 8.5 game lead in that division above Cleveland, who has lost 3 straight, by the way, as a result. But the Detroit Tigers are looking pretty damn good right now. I mean, yesterday, yes, they looked absolutely awful. They lost 8-1. Chris Paddock, who we got from the Minnesota Twins. It just seems like he can't pitch well against these guys. Well, they know him too well because a lot of these guys that's his former team. So they know him very well. But both starts against the Minnesota Twins for Chris Paddock, ever since we picked him up, have been god-awful. This one was no better. 5.2 innings pitched, 9 hits, 8 runs, 3 walks. He gave up 3 home runs, including a grand slam early, 3rd inning grand slam against Brooks Lee. Made it 7-1. Really, at that point, the game was pretty much over. You could just see it on the looks of the Detroit Tigers team. They were done. They were gassed. They were exhausted. I mean, the energy was taken out of that Detroit Tigers team yesterday. Very disappointing loss, but you know what? 3 out of 4, we will take it. So everyone calm down, relax. It's okay. 3 out of 4 against a division rival. I will take it. But now we got the Astros tonight, 6:40 p.m. Start of a 3-game series there on the 6-game homestand, by the way. It starts tonight. Houston coming in. They lead the AL West. They're 1.5 point games above Seattle in that division, so that's going to be very interesting to watch that. But yeah, we got the Astros tonight. They just dropped 2 out of 3 against the Orioles, who god-awful baseball team. They got shut out twice. In two out of the 3 games, they got shut out. And then they got shut out yesterday, 12-0. So the Astros are coming in. They're upset. You know, they're pissed off. I mean, let's be honest. They're ready to get some hits. They're ready to win some games. You get shut out by one of the worst teams in baseball. You know, that'll light a fire. That'll light a fire in some team. You know, that'll give a team some purpose for sure. So Astros coming in tonight. Tigers, way to bounce back. You know, like I said, start of a 6-game homestand for these Detroit Tigers. Let's start it off right. Let's win game 1 tonight against the Astros. You got Jack Flaherty at the mound. You know what? He's been okay. You know, I think just the offense needs to help him out a little bit more. But yeah, Jack Flaherty will get the start tonight against Houston, and obviously Tarik Skubal will be pitching in this series as well tomorrow night, and then Charlie Morton will wrap up that series against the Astros. So yeah, Astros, like I said, lead the AL West, 1.5 games above from Seattle, the Seattle Mariners. The Tigers are 8.5 games, and they have an 8.5 game lead in the AL Central above Cleveland, who's lost 3 straight. As I mentioned, they had that run a few weeks ago. They lost 3 straight, so it's helping us out, right? Expanding our lead in the AL Central, maybe get us a better spot in the playoffs and postseason ball. I get it. We got a lot of baseball that needs to be played. I mean, we're 20 games above 500. I will take that. We still have that lead in the AL Central. But yeah, it starts tonight. Astros, we got to win. Just forget about yesterday's loss. It happens. It's baseball, 162 games. It happens. But the Detroit Tigers need to win this game tonight against the Astros, who are coming in mad, upset, embarrassed that you got shut out 12-0 yesterday against the Orioles, who are one of the worst teams in MLB. And the Detroit Tigers need to handle their business tonight. So you got that going on. But in other baseball news, the hottest team, it seems like, in baseball for the past month, it seems, ever since August started, for the past month, the Milwaukee Brewers, they were on a 14-game winning streak. Coming to yesterday's game against the Reds, they won 2 out of 3 against the Reds. The Reds were fortunately able to win in extras. It took 10 innings to finish up that game, but the Reds do win against the Brewers. They snapped that 14-game winning streak. They win 3-2. But the Brewers, man, 14 games. And then I think it was a couple days ago, the start of that series against the Reds. Dude, they were down 8-1. The Brewers were a couple days ago. I think it was Friday when the series started. And they came back and won 10-8. So the Reds didn't score a single run after that. But the Reds do get a victory in this series. They snapped that 14-game losing streak. But the Brewers, man, watch out for that team. That team is on a roll. That team is on fire. Best team in baseball right now. I mean, watch out. I mean, that's pretty impressive. You can win 14 games in a row, especially in the MLB today, where it seems like any team can, go to the playoffs and get hot starts. I mean, this is what I'm talking about, right? This is what we were talking about numerous times right here on Guys Time. Many times, second half of baseball, many teams. I mean, before the All-Star break, they look like they're not going to be a playoff team. But then second half of baseball, after All-Star break, these are the teams that play good baseball. They go on winning streaks. Everyone's healthy. Everyone's batting good. Pitching is absolutely dominant. And you're seeing that with some of these teams, especially the Brewers. 14 games in a row? Are you kidding me? That's crazy. So, Brewers, they lost yesterday, snapping that 14-game losing streak. But they also took 2 out of 3 against the Reds. So you have that going on. But that's all of the other baseball news. We got to talk about Detroit Tigers, the rest of their August schedule for the Detroit Tigers. It starts tonight, 3-game series against the Astros, 69-55 record, pretty damn good. Good enough for being the leader in the AL West, the American League West. And then after that, we got the Royals, the Kansas City Royals coming into town. They're 63-61. They just got swept by the White Sox, who lost 4 straight. Coming into that series. So you have that going, or who have lost 4 straight so, as a result. So Royals cleaning up house there, sweeping the White Sox. And then you got the Athletics. They're 56-70. They took out 2 out of 3 against the Angels. But again, the Athletics, not a very good team in MLB. So this homestand, or the rest of August, rather, because then after the Athletics, we got the Royals, but this time we go to Kansas City. So the rest of August for the Detroit Tigers, this is a very favorable schedule for the Detroit Tigers. This is easily where we can start a winning streak. I mean, yeah, we had a 4-game winning streak going into yesterday's game, Sunday's game against the Twins. We got destroyed. We got our butts kicked 8-1. But now we have the Houston Astros, 3-game series there. This is the start of, I think, a dominant run going into the postseason. I mean, if you're going to start a winning streak, if you're going to play your best baseball, this is the time to do it right now. It starts tonight with Houston. So you win these 3 games. Then you have Kansas City coming to town. You win those 3. So you're already on a 6-game winning streak going into Athletics, going to Sacramento, because obviously they don't play in Oakland anymore. You go to California with a 6-game winning streak, and then you go play the Athletics, one of the worst teams in baseball. and you maybe win 2 out of 3 there, or maybe you sweep them. Now you're on a 9-game winning streak. This is the time where the Detroit Tigers need to show who they really are as a baseball team. I mean, this is mid-August. Like I said, we got, another month or so of baseball before the postseason starts. This is the time where the Detroit Tigers need to show who they are. And it starts tonight with the Houston Astros. You got to win this game. Jack Flaherty at the mound. He's got to pitch well. The offense needs to help him out. Forget about yesterday's game against the Twins. It happened. It's done. It's over with. We got to start our winning streak now. We got to start playing our best baseball now, tonight. So, like I said, the rest of the schedule for the rest of August looking very favorable for these Detroit Tigers. They got to do it. They got to figure something out. So, Detroit Tigers, Houston Astros tonight, 6:40 p.m. Game 1 of this 3-game series. Jack Flaherty at the mound. Go Tigers. Get something started, boys. This is the time to do it. You have to do it. Get on a winning streak. Play your best baseball. Show that you belong in the postseason. Show that you are one of the best teams in baseball. Prove it tonight against the Astros. So you have that going on. Now, fight fans. We got to talk about UFC 319. Overall, good event. History was made, and we'll get to that in a couple of minutes, but we got to talk about the main event, a much anticipated UFC Middleweight Championship main event. The title was on the line, 185 pounds. The former champion, Dricus du Plessis, defending the title against Khamzat Chimaev, undefeated, still undefeated, and new UFC Middleweight Champion. Chimaev dominated this fight. There's no doubt about it. He dominated this fight from the get-go. It took him 8 seconds in the very first round to take down Dricus du Plessis. 8 seconds. That's all it took. That's insane. And once I saw that, I said to myself, this fight belongs to Chimaev, because I told you guys, I said it earlier, I told you guys that if Chimaev took down Dricus du Plessis with ease in the earlier rounds, it was game over. It was going to be a long night for Dricus du Plessis, and it was. You saw what happened. He got dominated. He got ragdolled. He got absolutely annihilated for 5 rounds. Yes, was it a snooze fest? Yes, you can say that. Was it the most exciting fight? No. But in terms of strategy, Chimaev knew what he was doing. He knew exactly what he was doing as soon as he stepped into the octagon, and he executed it well. Now, Dricus du Plessis, whoever in his camp that they got to try to defend these takedowns, that guy needs to get fired. Or, someone needs to get fired in Dricus du Plessis' camp, because he had no takedown defense whatsoever. Kamaru Usman took down, or stuffed 8 out of the 14 takedowns that Chimaev executed on him a few fights ago. But Dricus had the inability to stuff any takedowns in this fight. And it showed. This was crazy. So, dominated 5 rounds, as I mentioned. Grappling, wrestling. Chimaev was just all over him. And I told you guys that. I told you if you took him down early, 8 seconds in the first round, by the way, which is insane. It was going to be a long night for DDP, and it was. 529-45. What does that number represent? That's the number of total significant strikes, or total strikes, rather, in this fight. 529-45. Domination much? I think so. 529-45 in favor of Chimaev. He took him down and he was just punching them repeatedly. Now, were they significant? Some of them were. But 529-45, plus having the ability to take down Dricus du Plessis, who's in that fight probably weighing over 200 pounds. They got to make weight, 185. But both of them, even Chimaev looked big in that fight Saturday night. But to have that ability to take him down that many times and to stay on him for that long, the gas tank is unbelievable. Chimaev had no problem with his gas tank. You saw it. It was impressive. But 529-45 in terms of total strikes committed in that fight in favor of Khamzat Chimaev. He's undefeated still, 15-0. It's Dricus du Plessis' first MMA loss since 2018. Yes, 2018, 7 years ago, guys. That is the last time Dricus du Plessis lost a fight. So definitely, definitely kind of a different mindset. He's not used to losing. He hasn't lost a fight in 7 years. But I told you guys too, this was DDP's toughest opponent yet in Khamzat Chimaev. And we saw it Saturday night. So you have that. So first loss for DDP since October 2018. 21 minutes and 40 seconds. What does that number represent now? Let me tell you. That is the amount of time that Chimaev had control in this fight. 21 minutes and 40 seconds. That's the amount. That's how long Chimaev had control time in this fight. And this is a 5-round fight. 5-minute rounds. So 25 minutes. So damn near the entire fight, Chimaev had control time on DDP. He dominated this fight. That's unbelievable. How is that even possible in UFC? Because it's Khamzat Chimaev and he's a savage. I mean, when he takes you down, I mean, he's all over you. I mean, he doesn't get off you, man. He's on you. He doesn't let you breathe. He doesn't let you get up like you try to get up. No, he's gonna slam you down. No, this is my world. This is my cage. Boom, boom, boom. This guy's crazy. But 21 minutes and 40 seconds. That's how much control time Chimaev had on DDP in that fight Saturday night. Unreal. But I mean, it was unbelievable what I was seeing. So Chimaev, obviously. He's undefeated, 15-0. But his resume of the fighters that he's beaten is amazing. He's beaten Robert Whittaker. He's beaten Kamaru Usman, who many thought maybe Usman could have won that fight. Maybe if it was a 5-round fight, maybe Usman wins that. But he beat Kamaru Usman. He's beaten Kevin Holland. He's beaten Gilbert Burns. And now he's beaten Dricus du Plessis, who's dominated the middleweight division for a very long time. This was his 4th title defense, and Chimaev just roughed him up like it was nothing. So the resume for Chimaev, very impressive. I mean, he looked absolutely phenomenal. But now the question is, for the middleweight division, who's next? Yeah, no, not Bill Goldberg. Yeah, we're not doing pro wrestling here. But for Khamzat Chimaev, for the UFC, what is the matchmaking possibilities for Khamzat Chimaev? And maybe for Dricus du Plessis. But in terms of Khamzat Chimaev, because he is the new UFC middleweight champion, who does he defend the title next? So you got Nasruddin Imanov, who just got done beating Israel Adesanya. But then you got Rainier de Ritter, possibly Michael Page, because he beat Jared Cannonier at middleweight, same card this past Saturday night, and he looked absolutely phenomenal. So who does Chimaev defend the title next? One of those 3 gentlemen. It has to be, right? I mean, maybe DDP gets a title rematch, perhaps, but he didn't look impressive. He got destroyed for 5 minutes, for 5 rounds. For 25 minutes, he got absolutely annihilated by Chimaev. So if I was the UFC, if I'm Dana White, maybe Dricus du Plessis has to win a couple more fights to get back to title contention, in my opinion. Just because he did not look impressive at all. Like I said, someone in his corner, I mean, they had to bring someone in to do grappling and wrestling. And whoever they brought in, or if they didn't, someone needs to get fired, because Dricus du Plessis had no ability. He had the inability to stuff those takedowns from Chimaev. And I get it. Chimaev he's strong. He's big. I mean, he's quick. And the endurance on this guy, which I said might be a problem if this fight went into the later rounds. Obviously, he had no problem with his endurance and his conditioning. He looked absolutely phenomenal. But if you're the champion and you know Khamzat Chimaev's style, like, he's not going to do the stand-up game. He's a grappler. He's going to take you to the ground, and he's going to maul you for 15 minutes if it's a 3-round fight, or 25 minutes if it's a championship fight or a main event fight nowadays. But someone needs to get fired in DDP's camp. because he did not look good in that fight. I mean, his inability to take down, to stop those takedowns from Chimaev, unreal. However, though, he was the first man, Dricus du Plessis, DDP. He was the first man to take down Khamzat Chimaev. First ever guy to ever do it. I mean, it didn't last long, but he did it. But besides that, it was not an impressive performance by DDP. So if I was him, if I was the UFC, he takes a back seat and let guys like Nasruddin Imavov or Rainier De Ridder or Michael Page, perhaps, maybe they're in line for a title shot at middleweight. I don't know. But Rainier, he's on a 5-5 winning streak. 4 of those are finishes. So maybe you defend the title against that guy. I mean, he's finishing his fights. He's on a 5-fight winning streak. Give him a title shot. And he's beaten Robert Whittaker. He's beaten Bull Nickel, who his wrestling's unbelievable. He's beaten Kevin Holland. So he has a pretty good resume. Or do you give it to Imavov, who's on a 4-fight winning streak? He's beaten Israel Adesanya. He beat him earlier this year, February of 2025, by a TKO finish. So he finished one of the greatest middleweights of all time in Israel Adesanya. So maybe he gets a title shot because of that. But he's beaten Brendan Allen and Jared Cannonier and Roman Dalazi, who just lost to Anthony Hernandez by submission a few weeks ago. And Anthony Hernandez, another middleweight, he's on an 8-fight winning streak. So maybe he gets a title shot. So I don't know what's going to happen. But the middleweight division is definitely on notice. Who is stopping Khamzat Chimaev? Now, I get it. We said this about many fighters in the past. Anderson Silva, George St. Pierre, Conor McGregor, Ronda Rousey, Israel Adesanya. Who is stopping this guy at 185? Because this guy is a legit badass. And he's scary too. Like, if he can do this against any middleweight, Khamzat's running that division. So, who's next for Khamzat Chimaev? I want to know. Whether it's going to be Nasruddin Imavov, whether it's going to be Rainier De Ridder, Michael Page, Anthony Hernandez, perhaps. I don't know. But something, the middleweight division is definitely on notice. And then as for Dricus du Plessis, I believe he needs to win a couple more fights, get a couple finishes, bounce back from this fight in dominant fashion, and then maybe the UFC and Dana White might say, hey, maybe this guy deserves a rematch. But an automatic rematch in this fight, I don't see it. Especially when the judges' scorecards are all 44-50 in favor of Khamzat Chimaev. And DDP needs to win some fights before he gets another title shot at middleweight. But in terms of my thoughts about this fight, okay, I might sound like a casual. I am not. I've been watching mixed martial arts for damn near 20 years. But I am not a casual, but I will say this. For a main event title fight, Chicago, Illinois, United Center, big crowd, this fight needed to be a little more exciting. And I get it. Like I said earlier, Khamzat Chimaev, he came in with a strategy. I'm going to take down this guy and I'm going to wrestle him. I'm going to maul him. I'm going to destroy him. I'm going to ragdoll him for 25 minutes. And that's exactly what he did with that 21 minute and 40 second control time that he had on DDP. So I get that. But in terms of a title fight, this needed to be more exciting, in my opinion. Like I said, it's going to sound like a casual when I say that. But however, Khamzat did what he needed to do. Am I upset that he won? No. I mean, he deserved it. DDP needed to prepare more. He did not prepare for this fight. It hit someone in his corner, and then maybe he needs to switch it up, switch coaches, switch gyms, because he did not look good as the champion going into that fight. He did not look good, and now you got Khamzat Chimaev being the new middleweight champion. And like I said, who's stopping this guy? I mean, everyone has their day. No one's invincible. We've seen it time and time again, especially in this sport. But right now, Khamzat Chimaev is running. He is the king of the middleweight division. But am I necessarily upset with how the fight went? Not really. Could have been more exciting? Yes, of course. But Khamzat looked absolutely phenomenal. Congratulations to him. He's the new UFC middleweight champion. Now it's time to face a contender. Like I said, we got a bunch of guys here. As I read them off, you got Nasruddin Imanov, you got Rainier De Ritter, you got Michael Page, you got Anthony Hernandez. Who's in line to fight Khamzat for the UFC middleweight championship? We'll find out and see. I just hope Khamzat can stay healthy. Hopefully he can make weight, and hopefully maybe we'll get to see him maybe again this year or early next year. He's probably going to enjoy this time off and, enjoy being champion. So that's the main event. Like I said, not the most exciting fight. Oh, casual. He's a casual fan. No, I'm just speaking the truth. But however, Khamzat Chimaev looked like a badass in that fight. And DDP, like I said, he needs to go back to the drawing board and figure something out. So that was the main event. The co-main event. Now, this is where I was talking about earlier, UFC history being made Saturday night for UFC 319. So the co-main event, Lerone Murphy defeated Aaron Pico, who was making his UFC debut, by the way. Spinning back elbow KO, and it was a vicious one. I mean, he got him clean, and he went down like a sack of potatoes. He was not getting up. He had no idea where the hell he was. It was pretty scary. I'll have to admit to that. But spinning back elbow KO, it's only the 10th spinning back elbow KO in UFC history. 10 of those knockouts in the whole history of the UFC. UFC's been around for 30 plus years, and there's only been 10 spinning back elbow knockouts in its history. That was the 10th. Crazy, right? And then Lerone Murphy coming to this fight. He took this fight on 2.5 weeks' notice against a savage like Aaron Pico. 2.5 weeks to get ready for this fight. And that's according to Yahoo Sports. That's insane. Great for him. Now he looks like a legit badass. He's undefeated as well, too. So good for him. And then after the fight, he called out featherweight champion Alexander Volkanovski. Volkanovski is accepted, so hopefully maybe at the end of the year we'll see those two fight for the title. We'll see. But Lerone Murphy, man, unbelievable. 17-0-1 record, undefeated. Aaron Pico making his UFC debut. Not the UFC debut he thought of. He didn't think he was going to get knocked out, obviously. Not the way he wanted it to go. That's what I'm trying to say. I know. I'm a man of a million words, right? But he's going to bounce back. I like to see him because he looked good in that fight. Like, he was pushing the pace against Lerone Murphy early in that fight. It was just that spinning elbow he caught to the face, and it was game over after that. But yeah, Lerone Murphy, Alexander Volkanovski, we are going to see that fight for the title, 145-pound championship on the line, hopefully sooner rather than later. But Lerone Murphy looked absolutely impressive in that fight. So you had that. But then the third fight on the main card, you had Jeff Neal versus Carlos Prates. So Prates, he comes into this fight. He had his 11-fight winning streak snapped by Ian Gary. He lost to Ian Gary earlier this year, April of 2025. Another spinning back elbow knockout. First time ever in UFC history did we see back-to-back spinning back elbow knockouts on the same card in UFC history. That's the first time ever. So that was awesome. First time ever we've seen two spinning back elbow KOs on the same card in UFC history. But his spinning back elbow occurred late in the first round. As the horn was sounding, he landed that elbow on Jeff Neal, and Jeff Neal, once again, he went down like a sack of potatoes. Insane, right? So that was the history being made this Saturday night, UFC 319. Two spinning back elbow KOs for both Carlos Prates and Lerone Murphy. First time ever that's happened. And then, like I said, this occurred with 1 second left in the first round. And then he bounces back after his loss, as I mentioned to Ian Machado Gary earlier this April. And like I said, he was on an 11-fight winning streak as a result, with 10 finishes, all by KO TKO. He gets another KO TKO as a result. But 1 second left in the round. The horn was sounding, guys, and he landed at elbow, and Jeff Neal went down, and the fight was over. It was insane. Great moment right there. So good. Congrats to Carlos Prates. But yes, UFC history being made there with the spinning back elbow KOs. Only 10 have occurred in UFC history. First time ever we've seen both of those results, the spinning back elbow KOs, on the same card. First time ever in UFC history. Absolutely amazing. So that was UFC 319. And then the first fight, and then obviously Michael Page dominating against Jared Cannonier. He needs to retire. He's 41 years old. He needs to go. And then Tim Elliott, 38 years old, veteran of mixed martial arts. He won by submission to open up the main card for UFC 319 against Kai Asakura. So that's how the main card for UFC 319 happened. So we had 3 finishes, and then 2 obviously unanimous decisions for the main card. So like I said, pretty good card, pretty good event. I liked it. I enjoyed it. Like I said, main event could have been more exciting, but you know what? The 2 spinning elbow knockouts made up for it by Lerone Murphy and Carlos Prates. I enjoyed that. That was crazy. Just to see both results happen on the same card. I mean, we were part of history. So that was awesome to see that. But yeah, UFC 319 done, over with. Good fight and good card, good pay-per-view. But yeah, Khamzat Chimaev, he's the new UFC middleweight champion. Who's gonna stop him? I don't know. So that's UFC. We gotta talk about boxing now. So Sam Marinelli making her second pro fight this Friday at Motor City Casino. Soundboard, 7 p.m. Get there. Unfortunately, I will not be able to make it, but I know she's going to kick ass and handle her business. So good luck to Sam Marinelli. She fights out at New Way Training Center. The New Way Training Center has been mentioned many times here on the podcast. Great people there. You got 5 professional fighters, coming out of there in terms of boxing. She's 1-0 in her career. 1 knockout back in May at Motor City Soundboard. I was able to witness that. She looked absolutely phenomenal. So this second fight, she's going to handle her business. So shout out to Sam Marinelli. Get your tickets now. I do believe tickets are still available. Just message her on Facebook, Instagram. You go by, you can message New Way Training Center. They got a Facebook page and a Instagram page. Just message them, ask for availability of tickets, and go see Fight Nights on Friday. Because this Friday, shout out to my dad. It's his 60th birthday, guys. The big 6-0. So happy early birthday to my dad. I love you. Friday's going to be a great day. But yeah, the big 6-0 for my dad this Friday night. So that's why, unfortunately, I won't be able to make it to this fight with Sam Marinelli. But shout out to my dad. Happy early birthday, Dad. The big 6-0. 60 years old. Good for him. But Sam Marinelli making her second pro fight this Friday night. Motor City Casino at the Soundboard, 7 p.m. She's going to do absolutely phenomenal. She's going 2-0, baby. So congrats to her. Good luck to her. She's going to handle her business. So you have that. But now we end this episode today. We got to talk about college football because, guys, it's back. College football is here. Yes, we do have a game this Saturday, noon, 12 p.m., ESPN, Iowa State versus Kansas State. So a huge Big 12 matchup here at the Aer Lingus. It's called the Aer Lingus College Football Classic. Because where is this football game going to be played at? Oh yeah, you guessed it, Dublin, Ireland. The luck of the Irish. Yes, we're going to have a football game in Ireland, guys. I mean, Michigan's going to have their game against Western Michigan next year in Germany, right? So, college football trying to be international. It is what it is. But yes, this game's going to be in Dublin, Ireland. Iowa State versus Kansas State. It's going to be a very interesting scene there. Obviously, Ireland, their only football they know is soccer, right? I mean, American football, it's going to be a surreal scene. It's going to be a very interesting scene there Saturday. But yes, college football is back, guys. I cannot wait. This game is on this Saturday, 12 p.m. Check it out. Going back to last year, Kansas State, 31 points per game last season, 403 total points, 50 total touchdowns, and then Iowa State, 31.9 points per game on average, 447 points, 55 total touchdowns. So being that it's the Big 12, being that it's Iowa State and Kansas State, two of the highest scoring teams in the Big 12, this might be a back and forth battle. This might be a shootout, and that would be a great way to start off the 2025 college football season. Because obviously, the following weekend, the following Saturday, you got a lot of big games. You got Miami and Notre Dame. You got LSU and Clemson. You got Texas and Ohio State. Why is that game on noon instead of like a 7:30 or 7 o'clock game? I don't know. I'm not a TV executive. They screwed that up, in my opinion. But it is what it is. And then you got Michigan opening up their season against New Mexico, 7:30 on NBC. So go blue. But yes, a lot of big games on next weekend as well. We'll dive into that more next week. I'll give you my picks, give you some background information on those games. But yes, college football is officially back starting this Saturday, guys. Iowa State, Kansas State, Aer Lingus College Football Classic in Dublin, Ireland. The luck of the Irish. Great way to start off college football. And then obviously we have those games, as I mentioned, going on next weekend as well. And then the NFL, guys, right around the corner. I got my fantasy football draft going on for one of my leagues going on Sunday. So you got that going on. And then next Thursday, I got the Guys Time fantasy football draft going on as well. So yes, and once again, Zach Bryce, the Bryce will be doing fantasy football, and it's gonna be fun. I can't wait for it. So that is that. So thank you so much for joining me today on this episode of Guys Time. You already know the drill by now. YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts. It's Monday, so enjoy the day. Stay safe out there. You guys are amazing. And yeah, watch some sports. You got college football on. You got baseball on tonight with the Detroit Tigers. And play some bets. All right. Peace out, guys. Stay safe out there. Have a good one.